Hi everybody, I am so excited to do this video. So excited. North Node in Gemini, South Node in Sag. I've been looking forward to doing this reading like all year. Okay, I figured I'd wait until the day of May 5th. Happy Cinco de Nodal Mayo. Okay, this is a really big reading and I want to talk about what it means. There's a huge shift in reality, guys. Lots of changes, really so much lighter though, for the better for the next 18 months. So for those of you who are relatively new to this stuff, I figured I would explain what the nodal energies are and what the deal is with Gemini and Sagittarius and where we were. We were in that Cancer Capricorn eclipse. Thank God that's over. I mean, especially the poor Capricorns. If you know a Capricorn in your life, I hope you just say, like, amen, you know, that it's done. It's been a lot of changes. But let's get into it. So May 5th today, 2020, we did, this is definitely one of the most important transits of the year. The nodes of the moon switch signs to the North Node in Gemini and the South Node in Sagittarius. So what does all of that mean? Those of you who've been watching me know I talk a lot about the nodes. I talk a lot about Black Moon Lilith, particularly those who have gotten private readings with me. I basically start off with, like, in order to understand yourself, you have to understand your nodal energies and your Black Moon Lilith placement. But maybe I'll do a separate Black Moon Lilith video if you guys want me to do that. But anyway, this is going to be hanging out, this Gemini Sag eclipse, until 2022, January 2022. So even though it's hitting today, it's not like for this week or this month or even for the next couple of months. It's for a year and a half. So what does this mean? It means the North Node is moving out of Cancer and it's moving into Gemini. Okay, so and finally that South Node is finally moving out of Capricorn, because guys, listen, we all have Capricorn in our placement. We all have all the signs in our houses. And by the way, if you run your chart and you see that there's no sign indicated, like let's just say in your 4th house, that doesn't mean you have no signs in that 4th house. It just means that they're not prominent, okay, in the inner. So you still have Cancer there. Cancer is the ruler of the 4th house. So that's why it's important to not only understand your house placements, but understand your chart, your wheel, because those other placements will be indicated in there. Anyway, I don't want to make it about that. So what does all of this mean? The pressure that we had in Capricorn, because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, is going to be lifting. Wherever we had Capricorn in our chart, wherever it was, it's going to be lifting. Let's talk about what these nodes mean. What do the lunar nodes mean? So before we analyze what this North Node in Gemini is even all about, or the South Node in Sag, let's just really get a good understanding of what the roles play, the nodes play in astrology. So we have two nodes. We have North and we have South, and they're always opposite each other, right? So these are the only astrological bodies that move backward, but not only when they're retrograde, they're always moving backwards, which is why they rule our past, they rule our karma, and what our destiny is meant to be. So it rules past lives and it rules our destiny of where we're supposed to be evolving into. So that's pretty important, right? Now, before I go any further, I just want to have you guys understand a couple of things. First of all, I'm going to once again be linking that free birth chart site, one of them, in the description box below. If you don't know your placements, definitely go and run a free chart analysis of your energies. Understand that you're going to see a South Node and a North Node placement. That's where your nodal energies are. Your natal. So you're going to be feeling this even more profound if your natal placements are Gemini and Sag, or if you have any prominent placements in Gemini Sag. Okay, so I just want to get that out of the way, because if you look at your natal energies and you're like, oh, I have my North Node in Scorpio, my South Node in Aries, so this isn't going to be so bad. No, it's still going to impact you, and I'm going to get very specific at the end of the video, towards the end, after we talk about what these are about, how it's going to be hitting each sign. I'm going to timestamp that. Okay, so you're not going to have to sit around for the entire video, you'll be able to see. But check, always understand, you want to check with these your rising sign first. You're going to be feeling it most in your rising sign. So even if, like, let's say you're whatever, a Libra sun, but you're I don't know, a Gemini moon, you know, understand, listen to how you're going to be getting impacted by that. So it's going to be very different. It's going to be very profound for you in a different way. So make sure you listen to all of those. And I think those are the two main little caveats that I wanted to say before I even get into this, because I know that's very confusing for people. These things are confusing until you really kind of understand it on a deeper level. But anyway, let's talk about what these nodes are. So it's all about, you know, our past and our future, and what does all of that mean? It's like the south node is called the descending node, just to get these basic little vocabs out of the way. And the north node is the ascending node, and that is connected to our future karma. So the south node has to do with our past karma that we brought into this life with us, things we need to resolve, knots we need to unknot, right? Things we need to let go of, things we need to release, we need to work through. And the north node is what we have to work towards. That's where we're supposed to be going. So how important is that, right? If we're going to be working to, you know, be the best versions of ourselves, which I think all of you are doing. Otherwise, you wouldn't really be tuning into anything in this, you know, in the esoteric realm, right? It's all about learning about ourselves the best that we can. But now understand, though, when I say, you know, past life karma, it's unresolved karma. A lot of the karma that we've had to deal with in past lives, we've dealt with, right? But now we need to deal with what's unresolved, what we need to sort out in this particular lifetime in order for us to be the best versions of ourselves that we're meant to be. You know, and as long as you have the south node in your chart, and we all do, you're going to have karma to deal with. It's inescapable. And again, it's about unfinished business from the past, chances you haven't taken, dues you haven't paid, things that you haven't brought to fruition, ideas you haven't brought to fruition. It's what I call the unfinished box in that post that I made a couple of weeks back, right? As one of the community posts, that box, I always call it, it kind of hangs out like right around near our solar plexus, and it's marked unfinished business. And it's that screenplay you never finished writing, that book you never finished writing, the movie that you didn't get made, that business idea that you didn't bring to fruition, that relationship that needs to be mended, that family connection that you're being pulled to fix. Whatever it is, how you're being pulled to take better care of yourself. Like this unrelenting pull, but you can't bring yourself to quite do it in the way that it needs to be done. And this is where you guys are going to be, we're all going to be, really looking at this stuff. So how do these things work? Well, you know, in this lifetime, we're all granted this list of tasks that we need to finish. We all are, okay? You know, things that you started that you never finished, you know, in past lifetimes. But the thing is, this challenge always comes with a twist, because you won't be able to complete your karmic lessons until you look in the exact opposite direction, and that will be at the north node. Because the way these work is you can't undo this past karma without using your north nodal energy. So it's like your north node is the helper energy that's going to say, come on, you have to come this way. Come on. This is, I'm going to help you out this way. If you stay back there, you're not going to do it. You have to come this way. So it's kind of like that. But this is the thing. The north node is uncharted territory. It can be uncomfortable. It's unfamiliar. It's where things feel risky. And you know, but the thing is, this is the exact place where you have to embrace the energy there. You have to embrace that energy and master it. So it's, you know, so in that way it can be challenging, especially if, like, let's say natally, let's say you're a Sagittarius rising, and then you have a Sagittarius south node. That's tough, because that's your first house of self, and it's like all of these lessons that you have to just let go of, things from your past having to do with your sense of self in order for yourself to evolve. So the nodal energies can definitely explain why some periods in our life feel more challenging than others. And I'm gonna actually mention some specific dates things to look back on. You guys know I'm a fan of that, giving you guys dates to think back to. What else did I want to say here? Yeah, I mean, you can only heal and unlock your South Node past karma when you embrace your North Node. And when you focus on the North Node, everything flows in perfect alignment with the universe, even though it's scary. And this is why I've been saying, getting ready for this video, you have to do it scared. Don't wait until you're ready. It's never going to happen. You're never going to be really totally ready for that North Nodal influence. You're just not. It's all right. Do it anyway. Do it scared. Do it scared. Do it anyway. Now, does this mean that we should dismiss the South Node completely and focus on the North Node? No, not at all. Your South Node is really a gift that something is waiting to be birthed and brought to completion, okay? And just listen, hear me out. I'm going to end up explaining that. But in order to do that, to get to your South Node, you'll need this new direction with your North Node as like your compass. You know, it is like your true north, as they say, right? That's really what's going to be getting you there. Now, the South Node gift becomes a problem when we get stuck and we refuse to change. Let me repeat that. The South Node is a problem when we get stuck and we refuse to make the change. When we refuse. We do the same things over and over again, that relationship, that job, the choices, the energies we bring to us, the same nonsense within family connections, the same nonsense with friendship connections. Instead of being birthed into life, it becomes rotten and toxic, and it keeps us stuck in the past, and there's nothing forward movement, nothing benefic about that, right? The North Node is where we're heading. The South Node was what we needed to distance ourselves from. It's like the rearview mirror. But the solution to the South Node is always in the North Node. So again, we're going Gemini. I'm going to talk about everything the Gemini and Sagittarius means, but it's about leaving things in the past and just focusing on the forward, okay? The paradox is that once you solve the South Node problem through the North Node, the outcome is not the North Node. And I want to go through this kind of slow because this is, a lot of people don't understand this. And they for some reason, I feel like they misinterpret what is supposed to be going on. The outcome is not the North Node, but the South Node. The South Node is the ripening karma for good or bad. So it's like the North Node is the helper energy that's going to help you work through the South Node karma. But it's not about any real karma in the North Node. The North Node is the destiny and the helper energy that's going to help you work through what you need to work through. Do you understand? I'm going to go through that a little more slowly, but as I explain what all of these mean. So I want to put it in the way, and a number of people do this, so I'm going to do it as well. I find it to be pretty helpful. So there's an equation here. The problem is the South Node. The solution is in the North Node, but the outcome is the South Node. So it's literally like you have a problem. You're reaching out to an energy and a friend for help. They help you fix the problem so that the problem can be put to bed, so that you can be the best version of yourself. So it's not about you becoming a Gemini energy. It's understanding, what does this Saturn South Node mean for you? And how can Gemini help you achieve closing out this lesson that needs closing out? So that's what it's about. Hopefully that made sense. Let's look at what we just went through with Cancer Capricorn. This was a really, really powerful one, again, because Cancer is ruled by the moon and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and those are two very heavy energies. The moon is everything internal. I feel it's what we feel and do and think in private. And Saturn is the great taskmaster. It's about the past. It's about restriction. It's, and it's tough. It's not an easy energy for all of us, particularly for those Cancers and Capricorns, for sure. So let's think about, if you guys think about from 2018 to now, May 2020, the nodes have been in Cancer, North Node. Capricorn has been in the South Node, right? That's the stuff that we've been needing to look at. So Capricorn is the sign of structures, systems, the top-down hierarchies. Capricorn rules politics and large organizations. Cancer is our comfort zone, our home, our family, that metaphorical home space, feeling safe, feeling really safe. Cancer's role is to help us connect with our true nature and really build that inner foundation. So guys, that's in general. So, you know, if you think about where did you have these placements in your chart, you know, where you had to really work through things, you know, lots of working through and sorting out. So, you know, again, so the problem is the South Node. Let's just use this past one as an example, right? Problem, South Node in Capricorn, power-driven, politics, systems, structures, work, right? Need of systems are more important than the needs of the individual. So it's about the collective more. Corrupt, patriarchal approaches to things. Government, controlling government. Things going on, being pushed to the precipice. Solution, North Node in Cancer. Softer water energy, ensuring each individual is safe and looked after, nurturing and nourishing, right? The individual, the family, Mother Earth, spending more time at home, hello, right? Taking care of the vulnerable, children, elderly, the archetype of mother who nurtures. So it's this larger global patriarchal thing, and there's this softening of home and the individual and love and family that's, you know, needed to kind of inflect it. And the outcome comes South Node in Capricorn. We have better systems that take into account one's safety and nurturing. Politics and organization that work to serve the needs of the individual more, you know, in a more particular way, in ways, guys, that we haven't seen like ever, right? Really, if you think about like the past year and a half. Uncorrupted patriarchal approach, the archetype of the father who takes responsibility and looks after his people. It's, you know, lots of people, no pun intended here, but a lot of people had their pants pulled down, right? The past year and a half. If you think about it, right? Lots have been going on. So from now, you know, now moving forward until 2022, we have the nodes move into Gem and Sag. And, you know, again, so Gem is where we're heading. Gemini is where we're heading, which is so exciting because Gemini rules the internet, doesn't rule technology. That's Uranus, which would be Aquarius. But this is about the internet, the communication on the internet, marketing, advertising, learning. Lots of learning is going to be going on. And the South Node, some belief systems that we need to leave behind, right? So what does this mean? Gemini and Sagittarius. So we all have Gemini and Sag in our charts, so we can apply these principles in particular areas of our lives. So the Gem-Sag axis is the axis of knowledge, right? It really is how we make sense of the world at large, because Sagittarius is our belief system. It really is. It's our belief system. It's how we move forward with integrity, but we're going to be made to look at these things in whatever area it is, particularly that we're going to be dealing with this most specifically. Now, Gemini, you know, is ruled by Mercury. This rules our primary thinking process. Gemini is the most intellectual sign. They're the quickest learners. They adapt very easily to surrounding situations. If something has to change on the fly, you want to be able to tap into your Gemini qualities because they learn quickly, they adapt quickly, quicker than any other sign, right? Very sort of quick adapters. I mean, that is their elevated energy, is that, which we're talking about, okay? We are talking about that here. You know, keeping it real though, you're always going to have the chance that the shadow side of the North Node energy could be a little bit of a trickster energy. It could be, but really, for the most part, this is so super benefic. It really, really is. So this is really how we process and make sense of information, from logical, fact-based information. It's like when you open your eyes and you look around you, what do you see? Paying attention to everything that you see, that you hear, that you touch, and everything is just going to be like, right? Because that's the Gemini brain, and that's going to be really very heavily inflecting this. I mean, this is going to be the North Nodal energy. So that's why people with strong Gemini placements are known for being curious and intellectual and having 1,000 different interests. Although we are, a lot of people say, what do they say? Jack of all trades, master of none, or whatever. I think that's for the unenlightened Gemini. I think Geminis really do take things to the full stretch. Also, obviously, it would depend on what else you have in your chart. But you know, for the most part, lots of interest. Gemini is associated with people from our immediate environment. Gemini also rules the media, as I mentioned before, but also our neighbors, acquaintances, siblings. Gemini rules siblings, our extended family, co-workers, other people we interact with like on a daily basis. That's all Gemini. Gemini is connected to short trips, you know, travel by car, bus, train, primary education, learning one skill at a time, you know, one-on-one sort of like commercial transactions where there's like contracts being drawn up, you know, contracts being signed, all of that is very Gemini. And now we have Sagittarius, which is ruled by the fantabulous Jupiter, and is very similar to Gemini. And Sagittarians and Geminis are very similar in that when they're both in relationship, they need the sense of autonomy. You know, they both get kind of bored easily in relationships, but they both have pretty strong belief systems. But here we have Gemini is what we see. I'm sorry. Sagittarius is about, again, our belief system. So it takes everything that Gemini sees, hears, and experiences, right? But it takes them to a higher level into the belief system. So like if Gem is defined by curiosity and learning, it kind of approaches everything from more of a beginner's mindset. Do you know what I mean? But Sagittarius can lack curiosity and prefers to follow the marked path, which has advantages and disadvantages. So where Gemini is very willing to try new things intellectually, really easily, Sag isn't. Sag is always down to travel and all of that, but they really do have this very strong belief system in structure and in process and how things should be handled. So they're not so quick to let things go. And the thing is, Sagittarius are the teachers, right? Gemini really is more of the student, always wanting to learn. But Sagittarius, and this is a really good thing about Sagittarius, they are the most, I'm going to say sign of faith. They have the strongest moral convictions, the strongest religious values. And I'm talking about the archetype, right? So you want to look at where Sagittarius is in your chart. You can have a very strong belief system in that particular area, right? So there's a maturity about this, right? Now remember, when we're talking about astrology, Aries is the first, right? Then there's Taurus, then there's Gem. So Gem's kind of like still kind of part of the baby of the zodiac. I always consider like the first 4 signs kind of the youngins of the zodiac, you know, Aries, Taurus, Gem, and Cancer. So Sagittarius is a little older, a little wiser, right? Arguably, whatever. But they're very smart. Sagittarians are very, very smart, and they, for the most part, they know what they're talking about. But the interesting thing here is we're going to be challenged to let go of these belief systems that we've had thus far. And we're going to be asking the Sagittarians and the Sagittarius energy to stop insisting on being the teachers and really try to learn how to be more of a student. Because it's at this point where the Sagittarius energy, there's a lot more to learn. There's more to the story than you could see. So there's going to be this switching out sort of energies that's going to be necessary. It's like Sagittarius doesn't want to waste time reinventing the wheel and can definitely save time and energy to stick to what's already proven to be true, right? But can also fall victim, guys, I mean, let's just call it to dogma, right? It could get stuck in paradigms that end up emotionally stunting you, where you get stuck in a certain way of doing, thinking, being, and really you're being called to really challenge that. Because again, Sag rules his beliefs. It rules our beliefs in the functioning of the world. You know, and Sagittarius believes that this is very, very important. Otherwise, we're going to end up wasting energy trying to assess every little bit of information with like a young, fresh beginner's mind. But then our beliefs can also become our abilities if we never question them. We have to question them. So this is kind of like the Hierophant reverse energy, right? In tarot. Is when Hierophant is reversed, it's like we're being pushed to question our belief system and what we've believed to be true up to this point. Sag is connected to people we interact with, not necessarily through our day-to-day, because that would be Gemini, but by choice. People we choose to be involved with. So these are, you know, the leaders of the community, the you know, our friends by choice, who we decide to associate with through work, any sort of energy that we decide to involve ourselves with. Those of you who are choosing to watch me right now, I mean, this is all part of the Sagittarius energy, but don't give that up. Okay. So, and Sagittarius is also about expanding knowledge by exploring different points of view, having to do with the larger world. Okay, so there's this inherent understanding that the Sagittarius feels it. Gemini does too, but Sagittarius really has this very deep connection to foreign countries, foreign peoples, foreign cultures, whatever's foreign to them, right? It's going to be different for everyone. And they really do feel like there is, if there's anything to be learned, if there's anything to be addressed as far as change, it should be in our perspective regarding these particular things. That's why Sagittarius and Jupiter are associated with foreigners and foreign cultures and other ways of thinking, concepts within cultures and stuff, right? So so that's something to keep in mind, because we're going to be working that in as I go through the forecast of each one. So both Gem and Sag rule knowledge and knowledge systems, education, religion, custom, lifestyle. It's about learn. And the fact that Gemini is the internet, we're going to be learning a lot about the internet. We're going to be learning a lot about each other. We're going to be learning a lot about our brothers and sisters, you know, from, you know, across the globe. And there's just going to be this coming together. So I am so excited about this, because this is, while there are going to be some challenges, obviously, for some signs more than others, some energy more than others, it's not going to be like what we've just been going through. There's going to be a lighter element to it. So I do like that. And I just, it's something I just do feel like if Sag tells us you find everything that you need in the Bible, you find everything that you need in that religious book, you find everything that you need in that history book, you know, this patterning of the past, there's Gemini saying, no, because Buddha does encourage us to doubt everything. And so this is kind of the dynamic, right? Buddha does encourage us to doubt everything in order to find our own light, you know, to forge our own path. So if we can't base the trajectory of the rest of our path based on only what has come before us, not that we want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but it is really about getting in touch with what we need to do to become the best versions of ourselves. So this is going to be happening for 18 months, and you know, we want to learn how to be like a Gemini, right? And we want to let our inner Sagittarius take a back seat right now. And not because Gemini is right and Sagittarius is wrong, but because when the North Node is in Gem, this is where our focus needs to be. Wherever the North Node is, that's where our focus needs to be. And in 9 years from now, we'll have the reverse planets, the North Node in Sag and the South Node in Gem, and it'll be exactly the other way around in another 9 years, right? Because this cycle, by the way, takes 18 years. So every 9 years it flips around, but we'll be back here in this Gem North Node, South Node in Sag in 18 years, okay? So curiosity, which is Gemini, versus abstraction, which is Sagittarius. Yeah, I mean, we're just going to be really looking for things that go beyond the logical mind. You know, where is the missing information, right? You know, the downside of like meaning beyond logic is missing important information, reaching flawed conclusions, and ultimately making bad decisions. So even if you're the spiritual type of person, and you probably are, right, if you're here with me, you really do need to tap into that Gemini sensibility, right? Having to do with curiosity. Don't feel like you know everything. Don't feel like you're above anything. Don't feel like, anything is beneath you. You don't want to do that. Gemini is about facts. Sagittarius is about knowledge. So Gem is the scientist who only believes in what can be validated through the physical plane, while Sagittarius is the mystic who knows that life is more than what we can see, and we need to understand with our senses. But Gemini is like, but show me right here in the 3D. We need to live in facts, right? We need to doubt things. We need to question things. We need to study. We need to learn. But we need to make things solid. And don't just embrace a belief just because everyone else does. You know, again, doubt everything and find your own light. Thank you, Buddha, right? Yeah, this is going to be about your inner and outer versus your outer circle. Your inner circle is Gemini. Gemini is a close circle of people, relatives, friends, workmates, the people we interact with on that daily basis, right? And then Sag, again, people from different backgrounds and points of view. So, you know, what are we saying here? That the North Node in Gem, our inner circle, is going to become more important than anything that's too foreign. We're going to be studying these things about foreign cultures, of foreign brothers and sisters. We're going to be learning, but the engagement is really going to be on more of a personal level. Is it short distance travel Gemini, long distance travel Sagittarius, right? We're not going to be doing much long distance travel, guys. It's just not happening right now. It's not going to happen, you know. But I do want to say, for a lot of you guys, Cancers, I think in particular, you're going to be doing a lot of, many of you, not all of you, many of you are going to be doing a lot of online interaction with foreign countries, which is nice. Okay. So why don't we talk about, I'm trying to think what else I want to say. Yeah, just any details that we missed because our minds were too caught up in wandering, you know. Maybe trying to escape reality that's right in front of us that we've never truly been able to make sense of. We're going to start making sense of it now. Okay, again, because Gemini is very like, you know, it's an air energy, but it's very much in this way. It almost takes on an earthy element where it's like, all right, this is the information. I want to work with the facts. Let's get a little grounded here, kind of thing, right? All right, so when the North Node was in Gemini and the South Node was in Sag, I'm going to give you some dates, and I want you to think back. I'm going to give you kind of going back to the 40s, because I know everybody's different ages on here. So October 2001 to April 2003. October 2001 to April 2003. Well, I have to tell you, that was a hell of a time for me. Let's see, living in New York, literally on my Stairmaster, looking out my window, I saw the first plane, then the second plane go into the trade center. So that stunk. And let's say a year and a half later, well, April 2003, February 2002, my mother passed away. But I had a lot of unbelievably tremendous gifts brought to me during that time as well. I learned so much. I mean, there was a lot going on the other end. So yeah, that's for me personally. Then I'll go back to March 83 to September 84, August 64, February 66, December 45, August 47, post-war 1945. Ooh. So if you're at least 18 years old, you've experienced this transit at least once, and what was going on in your life back then, you can expect similar themes. It's not like those exact things are going to happen. You know what I mean? It's not like those exact things are going to happen. But I just think it's interesting that, you know, the Trade Center, you know, 9/11 happened. And then the whole world changed after that, right? And I just feel like that's kind of where we're at right now. Again, like with those very similar energies. You know what I mean? So I'm going to be talking about the eclipses as they come up. Because the nodal energies... they bring eclipses, right? They bring eclipses, which are very powerful pockets of time where we're going to be feeling these in a very grand way. One is on my birthday, June 6th. Fabulous. But we're going to talk about, I'll talk about these more as we go along. But they're very important. You know what, maybe I should I'm going to throw out some dates, only because if your birthday is around one of these dates, or if you have personal planets, meaning your sun, moon, Venus, Mercury, Mars, or angles, like your ascended, descended, or midheaven, around the degrees of the eclipse, you're going to be very influenced by the North Node in Gemini and the South Node in Cap. So June 6th, so if anywhere around there, 15 degrees, June 20th, around 0 degrees Cancer is going to be happening. July 4th, November 30th, December 14th, May 26th, 2021, June 10th, 2021, November 19th, 2021, December 3rd, 2021. Also, if you are around 18 years old, 37 years old, 55 years old, or 74 years old, you will have your nodal return, which is the time when you effortlessly move in the direction of your destiny. Effortlessly. Fated events, fated relationships are going to wait for you. Things fall into place. If you are around 27 years old, 46 years old, 64 years old, or 83 years old, you will have your reverse nodal return, which is a time of adjustment, integrating what it is that you've learned. And it's like a karmic recalibration that's going to be happening. Okay, but no matter where your nodal placement is, the transit, North Node in Gem, South Node in Sag, will influence you in one way or another. So why don't we get into looking how these things are going to impact you, okay? So we're going to be getting into the signs right now, my friends. And this, we're going to start with our Aries friends. Aries, you guys are going to be feeling it kind of, very specifically to sort of how I've been saying it, only because you guys, and if this is particularly, I want to reiterate, especially if you are an Aries rising, especially if you're an Aries rising, because if you're an Aries sun and you're a different rising, please make sure you check your sun, your moon, and your rising for these. The three of them together will give you a really good sense, but especially Aries rising. So it's the natural third house. That's Gemini in the nodal energy. So this is, if you're an Aquarius, if you're an Aries rising, your third house is in Gemini. So all about communication with others. And, you know, I just want to say, Aries, and I know a better attitude will work against you right now. This is about joining up with others with very complementary skill sets. This is a time to learn new skills, man. This is going to be so good for you. Very practical skill sets, though. Not pie in the sky ones, nothing that you can't have like direct application to. You will have to collaborate with others for true success. I know this is not too comfortable for you guys, but this is really going to be very positive for you. Anything to do with the media, marketing, writing, getting into teaching. If you understand that you have things to learn, or if you have that you need to learn things, if you understand that you have things to teach, this is a great time to get into teaching. Right? Because that's all that third house energy. Now, you have your South Node in the 9th house, which is your belief system. So this is where you need to let go of things. You need to leave behind some belief system that you have understood to be the way things are, period. Do you know what I mean? You need to let go of where you've been holding too fast to your own way of thinking, your own way of wanting to live, wanting to do things your way, right? You need to let go of that and open up to other people's perspectives and opinions. You know, let go of thinking that there's only a certain way to do things, or that you're only willing to do something a certain kind of way, because this is going to cause restriction, and it's going to prevent you from working through this karma that you really need to grow through. So this really is about, I mean, again, 9th house is like literally belief system. What do you believe? What is your belief system across the board? I'm talking about as far as career goes, relationships. If you're into politics, what's your political system? Really looking at your political beliefs. Like, you know, is it based in fact? Is it based in reality? You know, what's your belief system about religion, about faith, about, you know, how you live your life? Why are we here? This is a big house. It really is. It's a big house. So you're gonna be working through those energies for sure. Right? I mean, and that, like, very specifically, that is Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the 9th house. It's your belief system. All right. But I feel like it's going to really be very beneficial for you guys, because as you change your belief system, you're going to be opening up these new modes of communication. You're going to be meeting different people, because the third house is very social. It's very social. So you're going to be making a lot of connections, communicating with people who are going to be able to help you on your path, and whatever that means to you. So even if it has to do with relationships, you're going to be meeting new people via the internet or through other people, just communicating. If it has to do with a job, it's tapping into that Geminian energy where you're learning a new skill set. You're tapping into different methodologies, different direct application of things that you know, maybe learning on the internet, or taking that workshop, or opening yourself up to to do like a group think tank kind of thing so that you can move yourself forward. But it's very important that you understand you need other people right now. You need other people, and you can't do everything the way that you think it needs to be done up to this point, because your belief system must change. It must change. Okay, Taurus. Taurus friends, we have the North Node in the 2nd house, South Node in the 8th. So learning lots about money, and you will most likely build your money, but only if you listen to others who know more than you. What does that mean? So let's say you're thinking about switching jobs. You really want to do your homework and ask people who maybe know about that particular career system. If you want to get into like investing, any sort of, whether it's the stock market or any kind of investing, anything like that, you want to listen to other people who maybe know more than you to get that good advice, because if you do that, this energy is really great to have things go very, very well for you. Take a class in something very practical that you think will end up making you more money. So it doesn't have to be having to do with the direct, investment, but you could be maybe thinking about a change in how you actually make money, and you taking a workshop or something that has direct application to teaching you hands-on, because that's very Gemini, is very hands-on, right? Hands-on direct application of how things, something that you can learn that you can have direct application to, because Gemini is all about learning. So many of you, again, are going to be transitioning careers. This I know. You guys have been, we've been going through this with you guys for a while. So this is a great energy to open yourself up to new approaches with the help of other, right? Accepting that something may end up taking a path that you have not yet considered, not because... less because you're like, oh, I'm not doing that, but because you like seriously didn't think of it, or you didn't think that it was something that you would actually really like, but it ends up being really lucrative for you. So, for example, I'm going to give this example of somebody that I know. She is an artist, went to school for it, decided that she wasn't as good as she thought she maybe should be to be an artist. She transitioned into something else. She's not happy with that. She's sort of a crossroads deciding what she is, but she's a very gifted artist. So, I've suggested to her, become an art teacher, do something else within that realm where you can impart your gifts and your skill and your expertise, which is so there. And it may end up being lucrative and something beautiful that you hadn't even thought about. So, but that's just one example. I'm not saying that that's the right path for her, and I know she's watching this, but, I feel like that's a very good example of what we're talking about here. Now, with the South Node in the 8th, some area of your life, you're going to be asked to sacrifice something in some area of your life where you rely on others. So this could be any help that you're getting from the government, from a partner, from parents, any sort of passive income, anything from like inheritance, an insurance payout. There's going to be sacrifice requested here. Even any kind of investment in how you've been doing it up to this point. So ideas here can be weakened. So for example, like if you were supposed to get an inheritance, the energy is very weakened here, and you might have to sacrifice some of it, if not all of it, or some sort of insurance payout, because it's just not going to end up working and serving you. So there's a reason that it's being denied to you. So you'll need to create new ways of providing these resources to yourself. And through Gemini, which is all about gaining a new skill set, right? A new approach. You're going to have to let go in order to create this new independence in this area. And this is definitely going to happen for you. It's just a matter of learning that new thing and knowing that the energy is so benefic for you, working with you to make that happen for yourself. So don't be so afraid. And you're going to do all of this scared, Taurus. You're going to be entering this time scared. And this is where I say, do it scared, do it anyway, because everyone's going to be working through their North Nodal energy scared. You're not supposed to feel comfortable with it. But you have to let go of this comfort of the South Node, right? Even if you know it hasn't been working, there's comfort and familiarity, even on a subconscious level. But you need to let go and really work on becoming very independent as far as your resources go. Okay, Gemini friends, North Node in the 1st house itself, okay, and South Node in the 7th house. So relationships. Let's talk about this. It's time to become more independent and self-confident, Gemini. It's very likely that, this is the sun, moon, rising. It is very likely that all of you gems out there are going to be in one way or another enhancing your physical appearance in some way, because the North Node makes this energy very sexually attractive, and it also pushes just very naturally to want to maybe get that haircut, if we can ever get haircuts again, or lose the weight, or do some sort of workout regime, or just change the way you're doing something. Okay, it could actually even just be because it's self, so it's internal and external. It just can be this fresh light illuminating from within you that just shows in your eyes when people look at you, and it makes you very attractive, So lots of you gem suns are going to be experimenting with career in the biggest way, different approaches, trying to handle different things. There's going to be growth in your career because of you, Gemini. Okay, because of you, because of your personality, because of your approach to something. This also indicates a very powerful male entering your life. Now, this could be a significant other. This could be a new friend. This could be a new boss. This could be a new business partner, right? Because it's the 7th house, right? It's working with the 7th house. But this is the thing. This person's going to be very, very positive in your life. They're going to be very supportive of you. They're going to help you to feel really great about what you're doing. This is going to be very solid energy. This person's going to somehow help you on your path. Okay, many of you, particularly Gemini moons, are going to be feeling very passionately about your home and where yourself resides, both internally and externally, right? Lots of you can end up changing homes during this energy too. And guys, I got to tell you, Gemini, North Node, first house, very fertile. Couple of signs, very fertile. So careful if you don't want to get pregnant. I think I just mentioned this in my Gemini reading where I made that wisecrack about my age, and I was like, the shop's closed because of my age, which is 52, by the way. It's so funny. I'm like in my 50s too. I'm like, we need to create a fabulous 50s group here on Get Life 333. All right, now we have the South Node 7th. Okay, so it's time to detach from certain codependent relationships, right? Certain relationships that you thought would always be in your life in a particular way, always. But that's the Sagittarius influence here, right? It's like feeling like that person's never going to go anywhere, or that person's solid, or that. But you realizing that the reality of the connection is actually preventing you from being the best version of yourself, and it hitting you like square in the eye, right? So you're going to be asked to let go of something here. Just accept that person will never be what you'd like them to be, need them to be, or thought they were. Like no rose-colored glasses here at all. This could be a marriage partner. It doesn't have to be. This could be a business partner. This could be a close family connection, or even just a close friend, right? Because it's the 7th house is our close relationship. It is the house of marriage, but it's more than that, right? It's going to be something a little different for each of you. But instead, you're going to end up realizing and creating this new strength. And this is entirely positive for you guys. You'll be moving forward and will karmically be blessed. Man, this is all about Gemini. Seriously, you have the Midas touch right now. You really do, for the next year and a half. Because the North Node is very exalted here. You're the most naturally skilled, the quickest learners. Rely on yourself in all aspects while engaging with others right now. That's what it is. Don't doubt your abilities. Don't doubt your abilities. Don't doubt your abilities. Seriously, focus on your skill set and have belief in what it is that you know you can produce and what you can do. All right. Let's go on to our Cancer friends. Cancer, 12th house North Node, 6th house South Node. You're going to be spending more time alone and very, very happily for the next year and a half, because you're not going to be just sitting idle, right? You need to put your focus on how to become more grounded and get in touch with any of the energies that end up undoing you, all right? But doing this in a very pragmatic and practical way. You're going to be reading books based on self-awareness, improvement, seeking therapy, learning how to meditate properly. Super important. A lot of you guys are going to be doing that. Also, many of you are going to be leaving jobs that don't speak to you on a spiritual level, because that really does matter to Cancer, because spiritually, that's where we tap into our safety mechanism, right? And that's all about Cancer. or things that you've outgrown, and you just desire to be involved in a certain area in a different way. You want to be involved in something either brand new or involved in what you've been doing, but in a different way, if that makes sense. Which is fine, because it's faded. You know, there's lots of growth here. Many of you are going to be learning more about astrology and tarot and prayer. You need to actively work through any of these areas where there's imbalance that you might employ as a substitute for gratification of the wholeness, as I like to put it. I mean, it's a nice way of saying addiction, you know. Where do we lose ourselves in things that maybe aren't the best thing for us, right? Any sort of self-sabotaging behaviors that could end up impacting that 6th house of every day, because the 6th house is health, and it's our day-to-day life. It's our day-to-day work environment, our day-to-day life. Beautifully, though, will be focus on skills that you've been wanting to cultivate. So what's interesting about the 12th house, it's Pisces house, right? It's ruled by Neptune. I always think, when I think of the 12th house, I almost think of it as being like bottomless, right? Because Pisces is a water energy, so it's like bottomless, like this bottomless ocean. But it's it's the oldest sign, right? It's the oldest, most mature sign. So I feel like everything exists there in the 12th house, but it's like not everything has yet materialized. So you're going to be really working on, you're going to be asked to ground yourself so that these ideas and these passions and these dreams that you have in the 12th house energy can be materialized, bringing it into your everyday. How are you going to make this dream a reality? How are you going to make this career better? How are you going to get into that career that you feel so pushed to create for yourself? You know, how are you going to make that relationship better? You know, anything having to do with what are you dreaming? How are you going to bring it down up into the 3D? Because in the South Node, things will need to be let go of in your day-to-day regarding how you've been working. You know, some may be without work for a period, but only to transition into an area that you're meant to be in. But also, many of you may be approaching your health differently because you have to. You're going to have to approach your health differently. You're going to have to really look at how you've been eating, what have you been putting in your body, what's your stress level like? How have you been handling your anxiety? You know, and that kind of feeds right into what I said about learning how to meditate properly. If that's not your bag, that's cool. You know, maybe getting more into doing cardio, getting out there and just moving your body and doing things that bring you into a better space, like just mentally, physically, and emotionally. Do you know what I mean? It's not about being skinny, for goodness sake. That's not the 6th house energy. It's more about being healthy, you know, a healthy version of yourself. Okay, now let's go on to Leo. Leo, North Node, 11th house. Leo, you got your South Node in the 5th, you got your North Node in the 11th. So let's talk about this. The swapping out of stuff. It's time for you to build contacts, connections, friends, groups, and generally thinking of others. Connecting, especially via the internet, because it's Gemini. Now, this house rules gains and rewards. So if you're willing to put in the work by developing some sort of new skill, new approach to something, you're really going to grow your life in practical ways, right? This is going to be very great for you. It might not be comfortable. And any stubborn behavior is going to work against you, because this is the thing. You're going to be presented with situations that are going to seem very uncomfortable for you, that you're not sure if you even want to handle it, nonetheless are able to handle it. But you are, otherwise it wouldn't be on your path. Okay? And you're being very pushed now out of your comfort zone. You are going to need to listen to other people. Not easy for a Leo. You're going to be resistant. But by the end of this cycle, you're going to understand that you will not be able to just do what you want to do without considering others. Gemini is in there helping you out. You will be involved in a very, very different social environment in 18 months. No question. And I said this in a Capricorn and Cancer video when I first started my channel a little over a year ago, where I said, look down at where your feet are standing right now. They're going to look completely different by the time your eclipse is over. Whether it's internal or external, it's just going to be a different existence, you know? And it's the same thing here, right? Leos, because this is a big change for you guys, but it's all good. Now, 5th house energy. You might need to detach from your kids. Maybe they're going away to college, or maybe they're moving out, or maybe they're just looking to do something more on their own, or they're looking to, you know, really exercise their own abilities, right, in their own way. You might need to detach from partners or things you consider fun. You need to let go of the I want to do what I want to do because I want to do it and because it's fun kind of attitude. You know, let go of needing your way in the day-to-day with your partner, or even your children, how you guys connect and do relationship, and learning a new, more inclusive mindset. 11th house is more that inclusive. You know, it's others. There are others in there. Very benefic for career as well, though, if you're working this out with that 11th house, honestly. You know, but with Gem in the North Node, it's learning new ways to approach what you love, from work to hobbies to pragmatic relationships in your life. And if it doesn't feel right, and for many of you, you're going to be reaching a point where you're pushed into a situation of having to let something go because it just doesn't feel right anymore. You're going to be pushed into a situation where you almost feel no choice, but you have to end that relationship. You have to end that friendship. You have to leave this job. Whatever it is, you're being pushed to end it, okay? And this can be painful. But this energy can also bring someone in who is more of this south nodal energy for you, which meaning more spiritual, or at least feels more spiritually connected to you, where you feel like you know them from a past life. It's what I call spiritually familiar, where you have this sense that you know them, Leo. So if you're ending a connection, I want to tell you that this particular eclipse, and I'm not going to say, and this sounds so callous, it's going to be like swapping out energies, but in a way, it's like as soon as you energetically decide to let that situation go, there's something else right there that wants to come in and work with you, this other energy in the way of a relationship. So I think that's good, right? And then now let's go on to Virgo, Virgo friends. North node in the 10th house of career, south node in the 4th house. So Virgo, I have to tell you, it's all about you having to do career. Yeah, great breakthrough in your career, totally new. Have most likely never even thought about doing what you're going to be doing, finding yourself in situations where you are in totally uncharted territory, where you're going to be like, how did this even happen? I don't know what I'm doing, and feeling super vulnerable and really scared. And this is where, again, I say, do it scared, do it anyway. You're going to do fabulous, because Gemini is in there helping you out. Gemini is the energy is going to allow you to learn really quick, to be very easy to adapt to any situation. So you're going to handle it just fine. And anyway, you guys are naturally skilled, so you know that. And your natural skills are just going to be popping off the charts for the next 18 months. So good in your career. Now, we do have that south node in the fourth house, so you might have to sacrifice some family life. There are going to be some big changes, either in who you live with, where you live. This can be a challenge, right? That security paradigm in the south node is changing your house of home, right? It's that 4th house energy. So you might have to make some sacrifice in where, like, let's say where you live for work, or where you live maybe for school, or like you're putting yourself out there, but there might be some sort of direct connection to your house of home. So who you live with, where you live, all of that can definitely be impacted. But and that's where your challenge is, because you're going to be asked to sacrifice that. But there's such a beautiful gift on the other side of it. And all of this was absolutely just meant to work like this. Okay, Libra, north node in the 9th house, south node in the 3rd. So 9th house, north node, you're going to have a lot of opportunity to be working with international travel and trade. Now, not that anybody's really going anywhere, particularly like with Sagittarius in the south node. Very interesting that we would have that come up for you, but really this is more about importing and exporting and learning how to do it with the Gemini and kind of inflection. So that would be more like internet, learning how to do importing and exporting on the internet, or at least dealing with some sort of foreign countries having to do with that. So also has to do with higher education and academics. So you're going to be learning to engage with others in a way that's going to end up opening up new paths for you. So because this is the house of luck, right? It's Jupiter. So many of you are going to be given the opportunity to teach. And just know that you will feel like you're not ready. You're going to be like, I can't teach that. What are you talking about? I can't, and all of like this doubt, right? Because it's uncharted territory, but you are ready. right? So be open to workshops and or classes to help you, whether you're teaching them or whether you're going to take them. Because through teaching, we teach ourselves more, right? And that's just the way the dynamic is. But many of you will be developing a new understanding of reality, your belief system, learning, right? Learning more about all of this, right? You're going to be learning about, right? Because it's Sagittarius, it's our belief system. So a lot of you guys are going to be learning a lot about anything in the esoteric realm having to do with prayer, right? Belief system. Just learning more about the world. I mean, even the markets, right? Even about society. Just getting more involved and more interested in what's actually going on in the world. Consciousness expanding energy here, yeah. But then with the South Node in the third house, you're going to be disconnecting from some relationships from your everyday, that everyday communication that don't feel right for you anymore. You're going to be changing your group, you know, to a more erudite group, where you feel more connected, people who are more intelligent, more deeply grounded and connected in this belief system that you're identifying for yourself. You know, in a very practical way, you need to let go of the way that you've been communicating in your life with others that, you know, and that haven't really worked for you. You know, now I do want to say also for the next year and a half, you want to be careful of electronic devices and cars, because it's third house, it's Mercury, it's communication, it's the South Node. So it's like so it's almost like a Mercury retrograde for the next year and a half in the third house in a way. So just be careful of electronic devices, cars, anything. Make sure all your stuff is backed up. Careful with your car. Not that this doesn't indicate really accident. Your car could break down. You might have some issues. Just a little heads up there. Okay, my friends, let's go on to Scorpio. So North Node in the 8th, South Node in the 2nd. Okay, Scorpio, 8th house. What you need to work towards, really working with, getting comfortable with, other people's money, inheritance, payouts over the next year and a half. Maybe a partner makes more money that positively impacts you. This is a house of transformation. This is your house. The 8th house is you. It's all about cycles, ending and beginning. It's very important for you to ask for any kind of help you might need right now, Scorpio, seriously, regarding any psychological challenges you might be having. If you're struggling with any kind of anxiety, any kind of depression, because with the Gemini in the North Node, this really favors like talk therapy, adapting to a new normal in a very pragmatic way, reading any sort of self-help books, watching videos that might be very beneficial for you. Do not allow your mental health to be tossed to the wayside. If you're struggling, get the help, or just be very pragmatic in teaching yourself how to adapt to a new normal, because there's a lot of change going on for you. Many psychological breakthroughs and releases are going to be happening for you, Scorpio. Many of you will become very, very versed in the occult, in sciences and life and death beliefs, unearthing secret, mystical, and hidden areas. And the thing is this, what's amazing, because we have the North Node of Gemini in there, you guys might get to a point where you learn something to the point of then you're teaching it. So maybe you are getting so into learning about astrology or the occult or anything having to do with maybe energy work, religious systems, belief systems, where you feel confident enough to the point where you're going to be pushed, even though you're scared and you don't feel ready, you're going to do it anyway, to maybe start that channel, start that blog, start that podcast, right? And just get yourself out there, right? So I really like that. Now we have the South Node in the 2nd house. So you're might be feeling like you're losing some sense of security and or income, but this is the thing. You're going to willingly lose. This is like, so many of you are going to be willingly deciding to let go of some material possessions that no longer matter to you. You just putting things in a different perspective, and certain things just don't matter. And when you do this willingly, you get the gifts of the 8th house. So this is really good. So let go of something that is yours, and and open yourself up to receiving gifts and opportunities through other people. That will be unexpected and very profitable for you. But it's all about opening yourself up to combining skills, combining resources, to create a new reality for yourself, both on a business level and a personal level. Just make sure you check the fine print of things, make sure the person is walking their talk, and this can all be really, really beneficial. So in reality, how could this roll out? So I'm going to give you a couple of very different, situations. Maybe you're living on your own and you and your partner decide to move in together, and you have all of these possessions, and you guys are in this time crunch, you decide to just donate everything just to get rid of stuff. You're realizing, you know, at the end of the day, none of that stuff even matters to me. I'm just going to move in with my partner, and we're going to join forces, and we're going to join resources, and everything's going to be fine. If you do that, it's going to go really well. For some of you, you might be in this situation where maybe someone passes away who's close to you, and you get this inheritance. It's 8th house money. But then you're dealing with all of their belongings, right? Which technically are your responsibility at this point. And you going through everything and just saying, you know what, I'm just going to donate things, and, you know, and just clear out, you know, the energy, you know, in a very positive way. And that's just going to be very cathartic, right? And very cleansing for you. So a couple of ways that could definitely pan out, okay? But really good, actually, in the end. But it is about other people's resources, other people's money, and joining it up, not working alone. Okay, Sagittarius, North Node in the 7th, South Node in the 1st. Here we go. All right. Let's just start with the North Node energy. Okay, so someone appears in your life very different than you normally would associate with. Now, this person can be an intimate partner. This person could be a really good friend, a business opportunity, a business partner. But this person's going to just be a very different type of person than anybody that you've dealt with before. You'll be attracting very driven people who will be able to help you, who in whatever area you're in, they're going to have more experience than you. And this is where you need to let go of your old way of doing things and open your mind up and adopting this new sensibility. Okay? People often get divorced with this placement. End close ties, business partnerships, but meet someone soon after, right? In this case, someone probably Geminian, in that they'll have like a youthful air about them and be a very strong communicator. For those in a committed relationship that's healthy, this can indicate your partner having something really positive happening, but where you may have to take a bit of a back seat, and it like nothing really being about you for a minute, and you just being sort of on the side and just being supportive and there for them. All right. But just in general, you're going to be pushed to experiment with different things during this energy. So 7th house has to do with partnerships and marriage, right? So experiencing new things differently with that partner. So that could be, you know, just new experiences altogether, including sexual experiences, being open to sharing yourself differently, opening yourself up to, like wherever you've had any sort of like inhibitions or anything like that, you're just going to be pushed to just let these things go. Just let them go. Because the South Node is in your 1st house of self, and you're being asked to let go of these things that have been restricting you from enjoying your life in the fullest, right? Having to do with your relationships. So this is all, South Node in the 1st is all about getting out of your own head and way of doing things and start listening to others. Others have things to teach you right now. You got to listen to them. This can be a challenging time because you're not going to want to do it. But the gifts of this are tremendous on the other side. You might even feel like you want to hide, because it's going to get that uncomfortable. Because seriously, I mean, it's in you. It's in your 1st house. You might feel like you want to hide. That's totally normal if you feel that. You might feel really unsure of things. You might be second guessing yourself and all of that. Totally normal. Totally normal. So this is where you have to tap in to that North Node in the 7th house. And don't do it alone. Turn to those very close connections. You're being asked to turn to people closest to you to help you through. Okay, so really like that. Capricorn. Finally, the hell out of you guys, right? In that South Node. I mean, really. All right, so you have your North Node in the 6th. So let's talk about that first. So you're going to be asked to develop a practical way to stay grounded, focusing on work, a new workout, health regime, because listen, any health challenges that arise now is probably due to toxicity. It's overdoing, overeating, over drinking, over whatevering, right? Also worrying too much, anxiety, depression, anything like that, right? So the 6th house is all about our health. So you're going to be asked to develop this in a better way. So cleaning up your diet, you know, getting rid of those things that no longer serve you, that you do on your everyday, adopting a new workout routine if you need that. You're going to be very focused on work, and you should be. Focus on your work. Cleaning and organizing your home, your office, taking things one day at a time. Man, this is so important for you guys. So important for you guys. Take it one day at a time, right? I know, like the serenity prayer, for those of you who might not know it, it's God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I think that I said it correctly. But it really is about this one day at a time, and recognizing what are you in control of, what are you not in control of. Why am I saying this? Because the South Node is in the 12th house, and that's the house of self-undoing. Neptune is in there, and this is what you need to clean out. And you guys, more than any other sign, oh my gosh, this is so good for you guys. You guys are going to be releasing such heavy karma, just burning to a crisp. But that's not always easy. But it's going to be a hell of a lot easier than what you've been through. You've been through the hard part already, okay? Definitely been through the hard part. So, one day at a time. You're going to be going through a period of great release that is heavily, heavily supported. This is great for work in a very practical way, because you're going to be you're really going to be throwing yourself into work, but it's going to end up being a really good thing for you. This placement often indicates a change in jobs and feeling thrown into something new in which you need to quickly adapt and learn something new, but you're going to do it really successfully. So if you're an employer, you're going to be dealing with your employees differently, but in a way to bring your business into a space of being even more progressive than it is now. You need to rethink how you do business, how you do your daily functions with your employees. Great problem-solving energy, great. But again, the South Node, we have to say, all right, well, the South Node is finally out of you guys, right, in the first house. And, you know, Sagittarius is now needing to deal with that. But in the 12th house, it can feel a little confusing. And you're going to have to intentionally do things that make you feel more grounded, because there is a big karmic burning release going on here. Right? Letting go of things that need to go. Be careful not to get into escapism, though. Turn to the North Node to help you. Great energy to get rid of debt. Okay? Now, also, this rules hospitals as an institution. So many of you may be looking to let go of the way you've been working or were involved with such places. So, I don't know, say you were like working in the medical profession, and now you're deciding that you either want to take a different path within the medical profession that you've been in, or you're going to change, hospitals, or you're going to change. Some of you may even be deciding to change careers altogether. Any type of institution as well. Could have to do with higher ed institution, anything like that, where you may be in this place where you're like, not so much anymore. I think I want to make some changes here. So you might be letting go, right, of the way you were working with or involved, whatever it is, with such places. Learning to do things differently and improve in your everyday. So even for many of you, maybe you were in a situation where you were in a hospital, and you're going to be, letting that go, and you're going to be changing your everyday, where you're going to be out in society again, where you were an institution, now you're not going to be. Maybe you were in for a long-term hospitalization, or a rehab facility, or something where you were getting help, or you worked in one of these institutions, right, where there's going to be a changing there. Okay, for many of you, that's how it's going to be over the next 18 months. Okay. But Capricorn, way better and really good karmic releasing. And man, I know so many of you just need that, because it's going to be very supported, which is really great, Okay, it's a lot of releasing. Let's just say that. Okay, Aquarius. North Node 5th house, South Node 11th. Okay, Aquarius 5th house. You're going to be pushed to develop your creative talents. And you guys are going to be brimming with your own original ideas, right? And Gemini is going to help you with this push to learn how to bring that idea into culmination, into fruition, right? It's going to show you where you need to collaborate with others. Those of you who are technologically inclined, this indicates huge strides in learning and development. right? Wants you to experiment and try new things for fun, right? Because this is the 5th house of fun as well. Especially things that you can use creatively to become better known in your industry, right? So it's very common for Aquarians to be involved in technology because Uranus rules technology, right? And Aquarius, you know, my twins are Aquarius risings. They're a little bit on the nerdy side. They're very academic. They're very academic, and one is very involved in technology. Well, they both are, but one is actually studying technology. And I know he's got, it's just funny, like he has so many of these ideas just popping around in his brain. So I could see, you know, him really tapping into this for sure as well. But Gem in the 5th will also make you very drawn to, Aquarius, very drawn to sexual connections and wanting to try different things intimately with your partner. If you're single, you can easily find yourself dating many different types of people because Sagittarius is different types of people. If you are single, different things will be tried over this time that you've never tried, all right? In every area of your life. So just be careful of the excess, right? Because the 5th house is big. It's what we do for enjoyment. It's what we do for fun. And it's also where our creativity hangs out. It's also a day-to-day connection with our partner, right? So it's wanting to do different things in all these areas. It's a lot of things I mentioned, right? But in all of that, you do want to be careful of the excess. And really, like so 5th house is also your relationship with your kids. If you're in that space where you have kids, your kids are going to really wanting to be trying new things, explore things on their own. Just know that this is part of the energy. But guys, this is also a very fertile energy. Like there are a couple of like 2 signs that have to watch it. You know, you guys are one of them. So unless you want to get pregnant, be careful. Okay, very fertile. Great if you're looking for that. It's a very good energy for you guys too. You have your South Node in the 11th, so you're going to have to sacrifice some work to focus on being able to implement the visions that you have in your 5th house. So you might have to let go of some friends or groups or associations so that you can develop these new ideas and adapt your new life, and you're going to feel like it's time. So, right, that 11th house is about, I mean, it's about the need to kind of just let go. Right, you need to let go, and you know, need to let go of some friends, some connections, because they're just not serving you in the way that you're going to need as you develop these ideas that you have cooking. So really positive though, it really is. Okay, and then Pisces, finally, Pisces, North Node in the 4th, South Node in the 10th. The North Node wants you to develop your home life, your personal life, having to do with home, things having to do with family. So this can have to do with, so for some of you, what can this look like? Anything to do with home. Inviting somebody to come live with you, adopting a child, bringing home a new life in the way of a new birth. Buying a new home, doing a lot of home improvements, moving homes, getting into investments, investing properties where you either just buy them to have them as investments or buy them to flip, okay? So this is what the North Node in the 4th is all about, okay? South Node in the 10th is letting go of a career and responsibilities. I think this is a very cool connection, actually. So let me just talk through this. This is letting go of a career and responsibilities having to do with that particular career, changing jobs into something more meaningful in order to be able to spend more time in the 4th house energies. You can become more passionate regarding things having to do with home and family. Now, this does not mean that you're not going to be working. It's not what it means. It just means that your focus needs to be more on your home, your family, and your roots. So for some of you, I do want to say, you might be suddenly Gemini curious, right? Very curious about your ancestors, your roots, doing a lot of family history research via technology, feeling very interested in this area. For many of you, this will indicate beginning a new home-based business. Okay, a combination of your skills while being more available at the same time to those in your home, right? And then with the internet, right? So it'll be the combination of those. It'll be career with family with the Gemini internet, which is that North Node energy. A great energy to be homeschooled. It really is. If you want to take any sort of like classes or courses online, maybe even having to do with investing in real estate, anything like that. It doesn't have to be that. It could be anything that you're learning though that would, because the learning aspect is that North Node, but you're staying home while you learn it. You follow? Many of you are going to have a great opportunity to get really like deeper into like real estate dealings, how to invest and flip, right? That's the 4th house energy. And just cutting off ties with traditional work and creating a new reality through your home. So I just see so many of you over the next year and a half creating this fabulous career in your home that has to do with something, some sort of skill set that you're going to be either fine-tuning, so you might know things about it already, but you're going to be fine-tuning it all, or learning something new altogether that has to do with this. So, really good stuff. I think. Very exciting, guys. We should be so excited about this, for real. This is like, reality is changing, but it's going in such a really, really good direction. This is a really, to get rid of the belief systems that we've been holding up to this point, to adopt a new sensibility based on reality. And the reality that we're in right now is really positive. Lots of growth, new inventions, innovations. This is a really good time. 18 months. Not every step is going to be easy. Just be patient and hang in there. And thank you so much for watching me, guys. I so appreciate it. And I am going to be doing general energies for mid-May. But guys, I'm in the middle of finals right now. I'm grading finals. And I just need a couple of days to get that that stuff finished up. And then I'm going to be focusing on those by the end of the week to get out for general energies tarot for mid-May. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care now. Bye-bye.